Hi everybody, you're very welcome back. Just before we move on to the verb compounds, I want to focus on one little aspect of using these prepositional verbs in German and how they look a little bit different when you translate them in English, okay? So we're going to look at, say for example, ich bestehe darauf. So that comes from the verb bestehen auf, etwas, which is to insist upon something. So ich bestehe darauf, this is a typical sentence that you'd get in German. Ich bestehe darauf, dass du jetzt kommst. So in English we say, I insist that you come now. But German keeps, it retains the darauf. So you need to keep that in there. So it's like you're saying literally, ich bestehe, I insist upon it. So that's what I've done there in brackets, I've put in the upon it in the English sentence. But you have to remember to put that in, because if you're writing, obviously thinking in English going into German, you might just be inclined to go, ich bestehe dass du jetzt kommst. Aber auf Deutsch sagt man, ich bestehe darauf, dass du jetzt kommst. I insist upon it that you come now. Okay? So there are a couple of other examples there that I'll show you in your book. Auf Seite, again it's book 3. Auf Seite 21. There is one down here actually, yeah. So es gibt Tipps für Schüler. Comma, remember the comma there before the relative pronoun, die daran denken, ein Jahr im Ausland zu verbringen. Okay, so again you'll see the daran, which is your da compound, is kept here. It's kept in the German sentence. So that translates into, there are tips for students who are thinking about, okay, thinking about ein Jahr im Ausland zu verbringen, spending a year abroad. So in other words, the daran has to be kept there. You must remember to keep the, like in the first one we had the darauf, and here you keep the daran. Okay, so it's thinking about, and the daran is, was in a sense denotes the about there, or thinking about spending a year abroad. So back to page 21 then, a couple of other ones, a lovely one to say you're proud of something, or proud of some achievement or something. For example, Martins Großvater ist sehr stolz darauf. So, stolz auf etwas sein is to be proud of something. So, Martins Großvater ist sehr stolz darauf, dass hohe Punkte im Abitur bekommen hat. So, Martin's grandfather is very proud that he got high points in the Leaving Cert. So again, the darauf is included there in the German sentence, but we wouldn't say he is very proud of it, that. We just leave that out in the English sentence, but it must be included in the German sentence. So, Martins Großvater ist sehr stolz darauf, then your comma, das, and then remember das puts the verb at the end. Okay, and that's just a few of them there, as I say. So I just wanted to focus on that, just because that's quite a common feature that you can get in the reading comprehensions and even in your oral as well. Okay, so good to know, and even if you can try to include it in your writing as well, it's really good. What we're going to look at now is the vo compounds. So we've already done the da compounds, right? Now we're going to look at vo. Okay, now we all know vo as a question word means where, but when you use them with a preposition after them, they mean what. Okay, so vo with a preposition after it. Okay, so I'm just going to write it in here. Vo plus a preposition will denote what. And now there'll be what, something, whatever the preposition is after it, and you'll see in a few minutes what I mean by that. So what and something, and then your question mark at the end. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick to the examples that we had already, that we looked at when we were filling in the da compounds, and we're going to now use the question. So we'll go over to board, the second board there, and we're going to have a look at the first one. So going back to what we had earlier, sich freuen auf, an accusative, to look forward to. Ich freue mich auf die Party, I'm looking forward to the party. Ich freue mich darauf, I'm looking forward to it. But what if you wanted to ask the question, what are you looking forward to? Okay, so again, think of the oral, think of your letter, the questions that come out in the letter, and even in your Äußerung zum Thema. So what you do there is, how do you figure out, how do you write the what to? What are you looking forward to? You put wo here. So wo is the what. You go back up and you look at the auf. You know that auf is the preposition that's used. We insert an or because this preposition starts with a vowel, and then we just add the preposition. So worauf freust du dich is how you say what are you looking forward to. So the worauf here denotes what to, literally. It's put together in the German question. Worauf freust du dich? So it's never to confuse, to look at that wo and say, oh, that's where. When you have it with a preposition, except obviously when it's wohin and woher. Wohin is where to, that's different. But here it's worauf freust du dich. What are you looking forward to? Let's look at the next one. Sich interessieren für, an Akkusativ. To be interested in. So again, we had that. Ich interessiere mich für Musik. I'm interested in music. Ich interessiere mich dafür. I'm interested in it. But what if I want to ask, what are you interested in? And note it's the what and the in. What are you interested in? Okay. Again, I have to start with wo because it's a question. I look for the preposition in the statement. Ich interessiere mich für Musik. And I just add the für after the wo. Wofür interessierst du dich? What are you interested in? Or if it was in the exam, the examiner, in the oral exam, you could be asked, wofür interessieren Sie sich? What are you interested in? Okay, so the next one then is sich erinnern an Akkusativ, to remember. Erinnert sich an den Tag, he remembers the day. Erinnert sich daran, he remembers it. But if I want to ask the question, what does he remember? Again, I write in my wo. I know it's an, so I see it starts with a vowel, so I need to add the or next, and then the an. Woran erinnert sich? What does he remember? So in this sense, in the English sentence, the woran in a sense denotes what there. Woran erinnert sich? Okay, and then we go over to the next board for the number 4 and 5. Sich freuen über ein Akkusativ, to be happy or pleased with. Wir freuen uns über die Geschenke. We're pleased with the gifts. Wir freuen uns darüber. We're pleased with them. But what if I want to ask, what are you pleased with? Okay, so notice if you're answering with wir freuen uns, the question will be freut ihr and euch. Okay, so now again, what do I do? It's a question. We've got a preposition with it, so we need to use the wo. And then we look up for the preposition. We see that it's über. Okay, we add the or because we've got a vowel here. And it becomes vorüber. Freut ihr euch. So the vorüber there you can see denotes what are you pleased with. With what? Literally, with what are you pleased? Sich verlassen auf. Again, another really handy one, as we mentioned earlier, to rely on, taking the accusative case. Ich verlasse mich immer auf mein Handy. I always rely on my mobile phone. Ich verlasse mich immer darauf. I always rely on it. And all I have to do is, when I ask the question, what do you always rely on? Oh, what will come next? We need the or, because it's here. The darauf. All you're doing really is you're changing your da to wo from the darauf. So worauf verlässt du dich immer? Or if it was in the oral, if you were asked, or in any part of the paper, worauf verlassen Sie sich immer? That's what you'd be asked. It'd be in the Sie form, the formal. So worauf verlässt du dich immer? That could be your pen pal writing to you. What do you always rely on? Something like that. So verlässt du dich immer, and it's vorauf. Okay. So we're going to do a few little more exercises with including the wo compound. So if you go to your book there, just to practice that a little bit. So we'll have a little look at question 5 there on page 20. Sie haben Angst vor Gewittern. Okay, they're afraid of thunderstorms. Sie haben Angst, and in brackets I have of them. what will I say there? What do I need to insert there to say they're afraid of them? And then I want to know, of what are they afraid, or what are they afraid of? So the first one, so you have an angst, and with of them in brackets. We should have daarvoor. Daarvoor should be your answer there. And then of what are they afraid? That will be waarvoor. So you just write your W-O-V-O-R, haben sie Angst. Waarvoor haben sie Angst? Then we have, sie verlassen sich auf ihre Bücher. So a little bit like this one here. They rely on their books. Sie verlassen sich, and now I want to say on them. They rely on them. I know it's auf ihre Bücher, so that will become sie verlassen sich. Darauf should be your answer there. Darauf. And then I want to say on what do they rely? On what, or what do they rely on is what we'd say more commonly in English. So your answer there should be worauf verlassen sie sich. So just like this one here, worauf verlassen sie sich. Ich habe ein Projekt, let's look at number 8 there. Ich habe ein Projekt über das deutsche Schulsystem gemacht. So I did a project on the German school system. So now I want to say I did a project on it. So note the preposition is über. Ich habe ein Projekt. I want to say on it. Über is the preposition, so I make it darüber. You umlaut, it's a vowel, so I need to put the or in between the da and the über. So ich habe ein Projekt darüber gemacht. But then if I want to ask the question, on or about what did you do the project? So on or about what haben Sie ein Projekt gemacht? There you're going to use worüber. Get the über, put the wo in front. The U has an umlaut, so I must say worüber haben Sie das Projekt gemacht. Okay. Another example is der Lehrer zeigt auf die Tafel. So the teacher points to the board, or is pointing to the board. Der Lehrer zeigt. So now I want to say the teacher is pointing to it. What will I say there for to it? If I've just said der Lehrer zeigt auf die Tafel, der Lehrer zeigt darauf. Darauf should be your answer there. Then to what does the teacher point? Or what does the teacher point to? So to what zeigt der Lehrer? Your answer there should be worauf. Worauf zeigt der Lehrer. Okay? So there are a couple of examples that I want to show you from past papers where you see a lot of these da and vo compounds used, and we're going to look through some of those now. Alright, so the first one is on page, it's from the 2013 Oysters from Tin, which is your written comment. Okay, so it was from question A on Haustausch, so the house swapping. Okay, and it was the third question, question 3, and it went like this. Nennen Sie zum Schluss 3 Gründe, warum Sie sich so auf die Haustauschferien freuen. So, to be able to understand that question, you would have had to recognize this. See? Sich freuen auf. So, it won't necessarily be written like the way it is on the board across the way there. And that's what you have to really figure it out. So, this is what they're asking here. Name, in conclusion, 3 reasons why you are really looking forward to the exchange holidays, the house swap holidays, okay? So it's sich freuen auf, and it's to be able to spot that there, okay? So, how would you answer it? You could, in answering it, you could say, ich freue, what would I put there? What will I put here, and what will I put here? Just give that a thought for a little moment. Okay, so we have, when in the question it's using the formal Sie, the capital S-I-E, okay, so remember that's you formal, so you should be answering that in the I form, like I've here. Ich freue, so I would say there, you should enter mich, because mich is the little pronoun that will go with ich, okay? Ich freue mich And then I would say, you could either say auf die Haustausch fair, and again you could repeat it, but it might be easier to say darauf. Okay, I'm looking forward to them because, and you carry on, weil and whatever else. So remember with weil you put the verb at the end. Okay, so that's one example. So really it is important to understand these, and that's, as I say, one of the Äußerungssymptome that came up before. Another example of where you'll find these is in the reading comprehension. So if we go back to 2013, reading comprehension text 2, question 1b, had an example. In the artikel, findet der Leser Informationen über eine Internetplattform. So the reader finds information about an internet platform. And then we have the question, or the command, geben Sie 3 Details darüber an. So would you understand that? Would you know what the darüber means there? In the article, the reader finds information about an internet platform. Note we had über here. See that? And then we're asked to geben Sie, give 3 details about it. Darüber relates back to the internet platform. See that? So it's give 3 details about it. Now that could have been Informationen über and a plural, something else in the plural, so you would still have darüber. So they'd be asking give details about them or about that. Okay? Another one was in 2011 in the letter. And you get this quite a lot. Remember we were doing the command form, the imperative, use of the imperative in the letter. So you have 2011, for example, the 3rd paragraph, so it was the 3rd topic area. You were asked, im Leben der Iren soll Musik ja eine große Rolle spielen. So, in the lives of the Irish people, or in Irish people's lives, music is supposed to play a big role. Erzähl mir mehr darüber is the question. So the pen pal was asking, wanted to know more about it. So erzählen can have über after it, and it can also have von. So it was asking you there, erzähl mir mehr darüber. Tell me more about that or about it. Okay? And then just remember again with those in the letter, you usually have a little exclamation mark after them, but they do need to be answered. So erzählen Sie mir darüber. You could have had erzählen Sie mir davon, but this one was darüber. Okay, so then 2010, reading comprehension 1, that had another example of one of these dark compounds. It was line 35, okay, so I'm going to write that one up for you, okay, just one moment. And it was in the middle, as I say, of the actual comprehension, line 35. And it went like this. So, it was the 2010, and you can go back and have a look at this yourselves, have a little look, find it in the comprehension. So it was text 1, line 35, and it said, Dan möchte ich mich daran. Right, it goes like that, and then you do a little comma, alte Tapeten abzureißen. Abzureißen. Okay, so that means then I began to. So would you know that verb? Okay, so in the infinitive that would be sich an etwas machen. Okay, so that's what it was machte ich mich daran, alte Tapeten abzureißen. Then I began to, I suppose, tear up or tear off old or strip off old wallpaper. That should be off. Tear off old wallpaper. Okay, But again, it's this here. See, machte ich mich daran. So we can see it's reflexive because it's mich, machte ich mich daran, and that's how you say I began to or I started to. Okay? And it's like what I mentioned before, these ones, with the ich bestehe darauf, das. You see, you keep the little da compound in there, and that's working the same way, in the very same way. Dann machte ich mich daran, I began, so the daran is kept there. I began alte Tapeten abzureißen, I began to tear off old wallpaper. Okay? And we have another one from the 2010 same reading comprehension, but it was a question. Okay, it was one of the questions, and it went like this. It was an was. Now, you might say, well, what's that? An was erinnert sich. Okay, oh, sorry, erinnert sich der Erzähler wenn, and the rest of it was, wenn an Weihnachten bei der Oma denkt. Now, you haven't seen this an was, right? But, just to let you know, that is another way of writing voran. That could have been written as voran, but it's one of those that you can use the was, and you just put an was, like on what, literally. But voran could have been used in that particular question, but it wasn't. So it could come up, you never know, in this year's paper. Woran erinnert sich der Erzähler, wenn an Weihnachten bei der Oma denkt? So that's why I'm just pointing to that, you know, it could easily have been the voran. So voran and an was are the same, essentially, for that, okay? What does the narrator remember if or when he thinks of Christmas at his grandmother's, okay? Then another one, which is similar to one of the previous examples that we did, is in the applied grammar. So if you go back to the 2003 question, it would be the Fragewörter, quite a common topic that comes up in the applied grammar. So this one was, welches Fragewort würden Sie benutzen? You know that one where it asks what question word would you use? So it's for the words that are underlined. So this one was, die Verkäuferin, let me just put that down very quickly. Die Verkäuferin, which is the sales assistant, zeigt auf das Regal. So die Verkäuferin zeigt auf das Regal. So let's pop that one up. So it's the 2003 Angewandte Grammatik, die Verkäuferin, which is the sales assistant, female, zeigt auf das Regal. Now, what you have in the question is, this will be underlined. These three words will be underlined, and you have to create a question to include the auf das Regal, okay? So it's in relation to auf das Regal. So we see it's die Verkäuferin, so the sales assistant or the shop assistant points to the shelf. So you have to create a question for that. So this is what's underlined. So your question, thinking about it in English, should be, what does the shop assistant point to? So it's a what question. So we think of our vo compounds, okay? So we should be using vo in that. Why? Because we have the preposition. The preposition there, auf, will tell you that you should be using vo. Then I know it's auf is going to be included. Then I have to ask myself, okay, it starts with a vowel. Do I need to put in an or? Yes, I do. So it's worauf zeigt. And to finish out the question, you use your verb next, zeigt die Verkäuferin. So again, German will say literally to what does the sales assistant point? Okay, we would say in English, what does the sales assistant point to? Okay, so that's all of showing you all the different examples and the use and the importance of these dar and vor compounds and how they feature in nearly every section of the paper. Okay, so as I said, the dar compounds, it, dar referring to it, them, that, the dar, it, them, that, where you've got a vowel in front, okay, or before a vowel, and again they're followed by the preposition, and as I say, very useful to know, so keep going through those in the back of your book, okay, and then be aware of these as well. Ich bestehe darauf, es gibt Tipps für Schüler, die daran denken, where you keep the little da compound in German where you wouldn't in English. So we're going to stop there and join me soon for the third segment. Okay, vielen Dank, tschüss.